Hello everybody, it's Mystic and welcome to my library. If you are new here, hello, welcome. My name is Mystic or Christina, whichever one you prefer, and I tend to focus on story-rich RPGs, JRPGs, and occasionally visual novels, like you will see here. This is Our Life, Beginnings and Always, and it was actually recommended by my really good friend Mara, who was actually streaming it on her Twitch channel and said that I would really enjoy playing it. I will hopefully remember to link Mara's channel down below, so definitely go give her a follow. But this is a really cute, wholesome, LGBTQIA plus friendly visual novel, and you're basically going through the life, I believe, of your own created character, and like there's lots of choices matter situations, and I am just really excited to play this. I've heard very good things. I know that a lot of people in Mara's community ended up purchasing it after she played through it on her channel, so let's get started on this. I am really excited. Also, thank you to Mara for gifting me the DLC for this game as well, because there was a lot of added stuff for that as well. So yeah, big thank you to Mara. Again, go follow her on Twitch. She is wonderful. She is a very good friend of mine. I've known her for years, and yeah, let's get started. I'm super excited. This is our new chill weekend game, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. Okay, so we have a new file. I have not done anything with this game yet. So let's see. Welcome to Our Life, Beginnings and Always. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. You can read the full tutorial from the main menu to learn about everything in detail. I actually did read through that already, so we should be okay. To start off, the game is divided into 3 time periods called steps. Step 1 is childhood, Step 2 adolescence, and Step 3 is teenage. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. These are called moments. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Steps 1 to 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now, and other DLCs will be released later on, which, by the way, I think there is a new DLC coming out. Let me see. Yes. The new DLC is coming out on February 7th, and it's actually going to be marriage related, or wedding, I guess. So I'm really excited for that one. I am definitely going to be picking that up. But yeah, just FYI. So there's 3 at the moment, but in a few days there is going to be a new one. So a lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered once set. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for your character is selecting a name. You can type any name you like, or you can pick a preset name. Preset options are called voiced names because the name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. Oh, cool! You'll get to hear him say your name as you play through the story. Only the default name, Jamie, is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voiced name expansion DLC. The full collection of names is separated out as a DLC because of how large it is. If you're not interested in that feature, you don't need to get it. Each name in the DLC belongs to, or was selected by, someone who supported this project. On the character creation screen, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get an idea of what your MC looks like with the different traits put together. Not all the things you decide about the MC will appear on the doll. The script referencing what you've decided for the MC is the main way those decisions influence the game. This is really cool, and it sounds like it's going to be super customizable. Our Life has a first-person perspective, so your character doesn't appear next to other character sprites. You only see the MC as the decorative doll and in special cutscene CG images. The cut-in CGs only appear if certain choices are made. It's possible not to see any during a playthrough. There's also a second type of special MC-based screen, the Interest Comfort screen. Unless you get DLCs, the game has one love interest, Cove Holden. He grows up with the MC, and the Interest Comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels: disinterest, fond, crush, and love. Love is only available starting at Step 3, and if you are at fond or crush in Step 2. Comfort determines how you generally think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, and relaxed. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. This is so cool and very, accurate. It's not like you know, Sims relationships where you can go from 0 to married in like 5 minutes. This actually like has some depth to it, which is really cool. You get to pick your interest comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can switch between the 3 levels as you please. Oh, and you can choose this. Oh, neat. Your interest level can only stay the same or increase. Your current level of interest will become the new lowest option on the screen in the future. For example, if you decide to be fond in step 1, disinterest will not be available on the screen in steps 2 and 3, which make fond the bottom level option for the relationship. Interest level has an impact on when it comes to physically interacting with Cove. While growing up, things are rather simple. If you get along with one another and you have a close relationship, you can choose to touch him, and Cove will occasionally interact with the MC in a lighthearted or comforting ways. But starting in step 3, touching can become more romantic or suggestive if you're at crush or love. To make sure things go nicely with that, there will be an extra choice to determine initiative level and a bonus mini tutorial that goes along with the choice to explain the feature in more detail. Basically, even if you decide you like Cove, the game won't force you to act on those feelings. Nice! You can always choose not to get together with him, choose not to accept or give romantic gestures, etc. If you do decide to date Cove, though, you can't break up with him later. So that's really cool. They add an option for people who maybe are not super interested in having a romantic relationship with the characters in this game. I like that. Got some ace representing here. I like it. Interest comfort gets the basics down, but it's the choices that appear throughout the normal game events that decide what actually happens between the MC and Cove. And it isn't only the MC who is impacted by your decisions. Cove grows and changes over the years. How he's treated and what he experiences helps shape who he becomes. Oh my gosh! Okay, in step 2 and step 3, Cove's personality, appearance, and interest will vary based on what happened in the previous step. It's something of a mystery exactly how your decisions end up changing him. You could try to guess as you go along. Or if you prefer, you can just design your own ideal Cove directly using the Cove Creator option that pops up in the beginning of steps 2 and 3. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of him, like, of subtle changes happening based on our choices. I think that's really cool. Making the choices you want is always more important than making a choice because you feel like you have to in order to get a certain result. When a choice does appear, usually you'll see that hovering the cursor over an option shows a certain color, yellow, blue, or green. The colors aren't related to specific points or effects. They're only there to give a bit of insight on the tone or emotion of the choice. Okay. Since text alone can potentially be read in more than one way. Blue tends to be casual, straightforward, yellow more emotive or reactive, and green less certain and uncommitted. Though there are hundreds of options in our life, and not every choice menu falls in line with that pattern. Picking just one color every time doesn't give a gameplay benefit. Only stick to a certain type if that's what you happen to like. Otherwise, switch between them freely. Always pick yellow, never pick yellow, pursue romance right from the start, never romance the love interest, be disagreeable or amiable, none of them will lead to a bad ending. You're welcome to enjoy the events and shape the story without reservation. Oh my god. I love this, because now there's no bad ending either. I don't have to worry about things going horribly wrong for me. And then, if you like, you can play again to try something new. There's only ever more good content to discover. We hope you'll have a nice time with our life. Thank you for playing. Aw, this is so... Okay. Alright. We get to make our character now. Also, I believe my name, my real name, is on here. Let me see. Yes, it is. Okay, so I think we might go with that. I doubt Mystic is there. That'd be wild. But no, it's not. Okay, so we are gonna be
Christina.
Oh my god, that's so cute. Okay. Yes, we're gonna be my actual first name. We are not gonna be my actual last name though. We'll just be Christina Library. Okay. Now let me make my character. Alright, I'm super pale, so we gotta go with that. Maybe not that pale. We'll go with that. This one. Okay. Eye color. I have like bluish. Although, we don't have to look exactly like me. I like the pink. Oh, actually no, I want purple, because that's what my Commander Shepard always has. In Mass Effect. My hair is pretty long and pretty wavy, so see what I can get here. Wow, there's a lot to choose from. What? You can go two-toned hair? Oh, this is so cool. Oh, you can even do a back? There. And then, oh my gosh, you can even do that. All right, my hair is probably pretty close to this. There. And then I am she, her. And got the voiced name. Birthmarks. Well, you could put birthmarks. I don't have any. Scars. I don't have any scars on my face. We'll do that. I do have a few freckles, but not a ton. Yeah, I have a few on my nose, so we'll do that. Hand size. Medium? And I do wear glasses, clearly. So we got to get, like, square rectangle ones. I would say that's actually pretty close. Yeah. These. Okay. Yeah? Or should I go with these? Actually, no, probably these. Yeah, I have them higher up on my nose, so okay. I mean, I do have a few birthmarks on my arm, so I'll put those there. I do have a scar on my arm, thanks to... I used to work as a veterinary technician, and you probably can't see it on the camera, but I had a run-in with a cat who was not happy with me, and I've got a big scratch, like right here. I mean, it's been years since I did that, but you can still see the scar. So we'll put the scar on my arm. I don't have arm freckles. I don't tend to wear a lot of dresses, so pants are good, and a shirt. And I don't really wear a lot of jewelry. I really only wear my wedding ring, so we'll just leave that. All right, I think that's everything. This is so cute. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usual sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. Your moms! Oh my gosh, I love it. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they also mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. Moms. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to you, the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked you how your family was, or mostly just said hello. You know, I'm just realizing I might want to move my camera because I don't want to block the text. I'm going to put it here for now. There's a chance I'm going to have to move it again, but this should be okay. At least for the moment. Like I said, I might change it later. You didn't really get why they always had to say hi. They saw you every day. Yeah, I guess that's okay. It's only blocking a little bit of that. That should be all right. But you nodded back at them anyway. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people since most of the tourists that came and went every summer were the same ones. You were too anxious to say hi back to most of the other residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. So, if we're going to go with how I am IRL, I tend to be a little, although I don't know, I do wave hi to people. Like if I'm walking my dog in the neighborhood, I wave hi to people. I don't not talk to them, but I don't, go out of my way to strike up a conversation or anything. I guess we'll say this one because yeah. You enjoyed learning all about where they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever, or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your mom calls it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your mom's had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. You hadn't exactly been listening at the time. You think it could be okay to talk to new people. Nope. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you if you didn't know them. You remember that it's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to worry about being polite then. Yeah, let's go with this one. You weren't sure about this man yet. Still, you felt a bit scared knowing that he was blocking the way to your front door, but you were pretty interested. You wanted to know more about what was going on. I'm going to say this. Also, I just realized the colors. I should be paying attention to that. But I'm going to just go with what, like, my gut instinct would be. You slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him, unseen, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second where your eyes met and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! His voice startled you and made you jump, but still you didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gatepost and its black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started to make his way toward you. Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms and stared. Still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly, you offered the stranger a smile. I think... I don't know. Like, I'm a kid in this particular part, right? So I'm going to go with this one. So, do you live around here? What's your name? You looked the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed. The way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. I'm not giving him my name. I would probably be the kid not saying anything. If you do, he rubbed the back of his neck uncomfortably, giving you a small smile. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him.
Well...
Could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove, who is about your age. Cove, that seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. You chewed on the inside of your cheek. This guy was definitely obsessed with water. You thought that was pretty cool. I'm gonna go with this one. He wasn't the only person like that in Sunset Bird. We moved in across the street, see? He looks so young. But maybe that's just me, because, you know, a lot of people look young to me now. He gestured towards the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Christina Library, right? I met your moms earlier, and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He took the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Could you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You kind of feel sorry for Cole. Yeah, did other kids really get their parents to pay for friendships? I'm going to say I'm feeling sorry for him. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that. What do you say? You want to make a deal? I don't want the money. But I also think this is kind of weird. I'm gonna run away. You spun around and made a break for it. Stranger danger! No thanks, old man. You don't offer any explanation. You just focus on getting away. I would do that, yes. You turned on the spot and bolted down the street, ignoring his calls from behind you. Hey! Come back! I'm sorry if I scared you. I don't know how else to ask. The soles of your shoes slapped against the concrete sidewalks as you ran, heat from the sun warm on your face. Step 1. First sight. Eventually, his shouting faded into the distance. You let yourself slow down and try to catch your breath, wiping the sweat from your forehead with the back of your hand. The chirping of crickets and tall, dry grass echoed around you, and you lifted your head to survey your surroundings. You'd run right into the hills behind your house's backyard. From here, you could probably get back inside without seeing the guy again. There was a loose plank on the back fence, too small to fit through, but you could try to wave to Lizzie for help. The fence was pretty high, but if you stood on the neighbor's shorter fence post, you might be able to pull yourself over. You would be able to hide here until he left, then you'd go through the front door. I wonder if my parents have any sort of, like, time that I need to be home. I don't know. These two sound dangerous, and I was not a risk-taking kid. I think I'm going to play this how I would do it, at least for the first playthrough. And then in the second and subsequent playthroughs, I'm gonna like change things up a little bit, but this is how I personally would have done it as a child, and I would have hidden. You could peek around the corner and make sure he was gone before making a break for it. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try and relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. There was a boy sitting at the top of the hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. Though deer didn't have green hair, wavy eyebrows, huge glasses, pink casts, or sad frowns. I guess a pink cast? But this boy did. You wondered how he got it. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another, and he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hi. Hey, Space Cadet. Are you lost? We're gonna just go with hi. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his side. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hems of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You obviously caught him off guard. He was your age, but he didn't look familiar. Maybe he was the boy that weird new neighbor had been talking about before you ran. The only way to actually know was ask. Who are you? I've never seen you. What's your name? I'll go with this one. He sniffled a little, rubbing at his ruddy cheeks before he answered. My name's Cove. I am... You could see him hesitate, shifting his eyes to the side and then back to you again. My dad and me, we moved here. Your guess was confirmed. So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. You can't own a hill. No, it's not mine. While doing so, you also picked at a strand of lint on your leg. What a weird question to ask someone. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. Pure white flowers that covered the hills rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they'd never stopped, his tears started to well up again with a vengeance. My parents... They don't want to live together with me anymore. Oh, the tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in the dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave, and he took me with him, and now we have a house here, and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. I'm sorry. You'll like it here. You just have to get used to it and stop crying. Oh, I'm sorry. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him, being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would feel like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Christina!
Cove?
Cove! Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. You can handle it. You don't have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry I have to. It will be okay. Sorry I have to. Stretching as you stood, you tilt your head back and down to look at Cove. I can't lie to my moms about where you are, you know? And they're gonna tell him. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice ran out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his bandaged arm. His not bandaged arm. Sorry, I still don't want to go. You called out yourself, you wait silently with him, you tried to convince him. I wouldn't want my parents to worry, so I'm gonna go with that one. Wanting to go home, you raised your own voice. Over here! Cove's face soured. He said nothing, but his thoughts were probably pretty nasty at that moment. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes land on you, and they rushed over. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Christina, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Cove, and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, we're just sitting in the grass. Why is everybody acting like it's such a big thing? We're okay, don't worry. Cove just didn't want to go home just yet. We're okay, don't worry. Thank God you're both fine. Were you two having fun out there? You looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. He shrugged. Yes, I like him. He's good. I think I'm gonna marry him. Well, I don't really know yet. I'll shrug. He's new here. It was okay. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Christina knows this whole area so well. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove.
Bye.
Bye. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper playdate tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sure, can I show him my stuff? It sounds like words. You nodded, ducking your head down. Yeah. Both of your moms laughed, the sounds overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. They're so cute. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove for this step. It can change in later steps. Okay. Comfort. I'm gonna go with nervous. And for now, indifferent. Because I don't really know yet. I don't know how I feel. So I noticed that my facial expression has changed. And I think that is because of how I made those choices, which is very cool. Yes. Okay. Early the next morning, you were poking at your food, eating it slowly. Oh, and I just got an achievement called Childish Indifference. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you'd stay put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Excited to see your new friend again, Christina. I guess. Oh, and I just got an achievement called Nervous as well.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Yeah. I don't know. Am I? Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. So, like, all right, I am a mom. I have 2 kids. And usually when they've completely finished their food, I'll be like, oh, wow, you completely hated it, didn't you? And they'd be like, yep. Totally disgusting. I kind of wish that was an option because we always like joke. My oldest son specifically will be like, oh, look at this. It was so gross. Ew. And the whole bowl will be empty. It's just a funny thing that we do. I feel like with my parents, I'd probably be a little sillier. So I'm going to say that one. You gestured down to the empty dish in front of you, raising your eyebrows dramatically.
Okay.
Okay, we see. Good job. He should be here soon. Cleanup began then, and then, on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant. Bleh, bleh. I'm sorry. I sometimes struggle to read out loud. I love reading. But my mouth doesn't always do what my brain tells it to do. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Christina, could you get it? It's also so weird to use my real name while doing this, by the way. Like, I'm always Mystic when I do my video game stuff. I was Christina for BookTube, but I'll get used to it. Because Mom said so, you wandered over to the door. Hey, library family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. You studied Cove apathetically. This was the parents' plan, not yours. Not seeming any more excited than you were, he just stared back. Do you want to go play in your room, Christina? Sure. So my room is this way.
Okay.
Take care.
Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
See you.
See you later, son. Play nice. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Me too. I drew that. Thank you. I don't. Thank you's fine. You're welcome. You smile at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on your walls. You started to feel a bit nervous. You feel the atmosphere was kind of awkward. You're glad for the company. Yeah, I'm gonna hope he likes my room. You put a lot of effort into making your room as nice as it was. You hoped he didn't say anything bad about it. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you'd collected tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging it into the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. Yeah! You gestured to a piece at the bottom still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Neat, this is a good collection. You get the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shiloh. He actually meant it. Ah, Shiloh is coming over. Shiloh? My sister's friend. He wants to, meet you. Do I have to see him? It'll be okay, I think. Okay, I was wondering who Shiloh was. Here, I found this shell in a log, and you pull out a seashell after seashell, explaining where you've gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Oh, you know what? I should probably save. I haven't done that yet. There we go. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you've even learned some of their scientific names. The collection was so huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Your voice faltered a bit, but you kept going as best you could. So, if this is me as a child, this is absolutely something I would have done. So I'm going to learn the scientific names. You had a whole picture book dedicated to different shells and sea life. You had learned a lot by flipping through its pages. Apparently fascinated, either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus, even if it was only directed at the shells. Kids, come on down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because you found each other by accident and a parent didn't make it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was a part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Great. Okay, but be careful. You should have asked. Okay, but be careful. I will. You weren't sure if you could trust someone else with your treasures yet, so you stayed next to him while he opened the lid and peered inside. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. That's my favorite too. I like a different one best. I can show it to you. You can take it. Let's give it to him. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes growing wide. Really? Sure, you like it a lot, right? Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it from you. It's okay. You get the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. You insist. No, it's okay for you. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you can give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. I'm sorry, there's nowhere to go. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze to the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Do you want to break your... No! Do you want to break your other arm? Shiloh is the least scary person alive. Cheer up. Shiloh's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt. I'll come with you. Good idea. Let's go. Let's go with this one. He likes everyone. I mean it. But I don't want to see him. I don't know him. You tease, you comfort, you encourage. I wouldn't tease. Probably comfort. You're right. Meeting new people is really hard. I'm sorry. Thanks. Shiloh poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what you said or not, but you guessed that he had.
Hi.
Oh my god, he's so cute. Hi, Christina. And hi, Cove? Cove shot you an uneasy glance.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Shiloh. It's nice to meet you. Yeah. You have a lot of freckles. Right, I do. What are you guys doing? We're looking at shells.
Can I do it too?
I love him. Cove shrugged, then looked back at your box of beach findings. What about that one? The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else. You held out a recent find to Cove, a scallop shell that had washed up on the shore. It's a pretty color, kind of like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Pink is a nice color. Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue. It might be yellow. Oh, those are really cool.
I guess.
I like those colors too. They're better colors. Not sure to deal with the suddenly more awkward silence. You look back at your shells. Absolutely what I would do. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Okay, so Shiloh is absolutely my 9-year-old. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? Don't know.
Aw.
Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing in our park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of a park, and he looks towards you. There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Christina? The park is fun. I love it. The park is pretty great now. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's a lot of fun things to do, and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it would be really cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Christina, Shiloh. Hi. She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrabbled over to the sand by her. You were so used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. You weren't sure if this was an improvement. Who's that? It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. I like her hair color. Welcome to my park. Okay, so like her dress, it's kind of hard to see. I guess they're shells, but at first I thought they were coffee beans. I don't know why. I don't know why a child would have coffee beans on their dress. But anyway, welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured wildly with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest. By a lot. My mom said you're Christina's age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought so. I'm the only one in this group with double digits. So, like, okay. So clearly I'm playing myself as myself. And as a child, I was very quiet. But the group dynamic here is hilarious because it's kind of reminding me of my own childhood. Like, I was the quiet one, and my sister was the one that would just, like, be the boss of everybody and, like, make the rules. Now, she is younger than me and not older than me, but this was very much her role. So she is Lizzie. I am me. Shiloh is my 9-year-old, who obviously wasn't around in my childhood, but, He kind of is similar to my brother. And then, I don't know, Cove? I don't know if I have somebody similar to Cove. I have to get to know Cove a little more, but I can definitely see my sister and Lizzie. Thought so. I'm still, double digits. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. I almost said mouth. What?
Oh.
I think my mouth was stolen. Oh. For a second, it looked like he might cry again, but something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Oh no. Not the boomers. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. Stop saying stuff like that. You're gonna upset him. Yeah, they're really bad. Probably this one. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Christina in school. You'll see a ton of kids there once summer is over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down to the dirt. He hadn't had much luck striking up a conversation with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. I love Shiloh so much. Oh my gosh. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort, at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely you didn't really know, but she laughed, her face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird, Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. Is right. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. Do I click? I guess so. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way sun and lunch and the beach were. That first summer, you hadn't really been interested in him one way or another. He was just kind of a fact of life, someone you met with because he was there. Of course, that was only the start of things. Oh, I can select a moment. Okay. We'll go with shopping. Come back before it gets dark, all right, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you had been watching, inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later, his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two.
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Christina? Nothing. You towed the pavement in front of you. It would be nice to tell them about the snail you found, but you didn't know if they liked snails. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had in a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. It does? You weren't sure about that. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You shrugged. Cove was in the process of making a similar motion. You didn't have anything else to do, and you hadn't been to the stores in a few days. Maybe there was something new to look at. Maybe. Is that okay?
I guess.
I was going by myself, but I guess it is. You don't have to. Great. I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd, since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. That's how I live my life. I never have cash. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too. Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Are you looking for snails? Are you looking for shells? What is it? Let's go with shells. Cove start. I swear. I have no control over my mouth. Cove started a little at the sound of your voice and mumbled a sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You can manage that. You dropped your view to the sand, walking carefully so you didn't step on any. You were good at finding shells. You had a lot of them at home, and always found new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You don't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? And what do you usually do on the beach? I'm not going to say anything. He seemed altogether too invested on the floor to pay attention. You decided to watch the waves as they inched closer and closer to your feet instead. Oh. Abruptly, Cove stopped, then moved briskly ahead a few steps. What is it? Without a word, he bent down, picking something up half buried in the sand. You hurried nearer, curiously glancing over his shoulder. It was a shell, lightly pink at the bottom and bleached white at the top. Wow, so you found what you were looking for. Cove got back up, turning his find over in his hands before unbuttoning one of the many pockets in his pants and sliding it inside. I pick up anything that's kind of cool. This is what I got this time.
So...
What about you? What do you do out here? I don't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming. I like looking at fish. I like to build sandcastles. Nothing. I was a sandcastle kid. Last summer, Lizzie and I built one that was as tall as me, and sometimes they have sandcastle building competitions down by the boardwalk. Cool. I bet you could win. You smile at Cove. Maybe the two of you would build one together one day. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. Ugh. It's nice. It's not very nice. It's all right. It's nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove points to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander! In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read, "The Amazing Alexander" in glittery golden script. 1 second, because I feel like the music has slightly gotten louder, and I don't want to be yelling over it. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Cove hummed with an understanding, then turned to walk away just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. You bit your lip, reluctantly starting to follow after Cove again. You continued looking over your shoulder, however, wanting to see as much as you could before he got too far away. Hey! Not watching where you were going proved a bad idea as you bumped right into Cove. Oh, sorry. Did you want to stay or something? If that's okay. He briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to their place. You could have said so. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? So normally I would have been pretty shy, right? But I always found magic fascinating as a kid. And I remember, so I used to live in New Jersey. We went to the shore a lot as a kid. And there would be magicians there. And I actually got to participate in a couple of magicians' tricks as a kid because I really loved magic. So this is one time that I would actually be excited to participate. This had to be going somewhere and you needed to find out. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer. It was great. You felt a tug and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You know that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he had done it. There was light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them that were tied down on his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. One for your friend, too. Thanks for being my assistant. Wow! Now you're really grateful he chose you. After that, he went on to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly while he reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove is just ruining the fun. At least you had a fun time. You wonder if Cove's whole family was magic? I had a fun time. You saw a magic trick and you got a great balloon. This was more than enough to make it a worthwhile event. You thought that if you could find a card to practice with, maybe you could make it disappear too. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. You pick up a kaleidoscope, you pick up a Rubik's Cube, you pick up an 8-ball, you walk past the toys. I always loved the magic 8-balls as a kid. Oh. You shift your balloon string to the other hand so you could hold it up in front of you. Then you thought of a question in your mind, shaking the ball and hearing some kind of liquid slosh around in it. Once you had given it a good shake, you held it upright, waiting for the answer to appear. Concentrate and ask again. You wrinkled your nose and set the magic 8-ball on the rack. It wasn't the answer you were hoping for. You followed Cove around to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You said nothing. Are you having fun? Cove didn't answer straight away, and after a few more moments, you thought he wasn't going to say anything at all. A little. When Cove moved towards some stalls nearby, you followed beside him. Oh, cute. While Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read, "Handmade," standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. You pick up the dolphin, the shark, the crab, or the turtle. Dolphin. Your hand stopped on the dolphin, so similar to your balloon animal. Animal. It was made of a bright material that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remembered once seeing a pod of dolphins swimming out in the distance at the beach, jumping out of the water and splashing as they dived back in again. That was a great day. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price, though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You really had more than a $5 bill to your name. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money.
All right.
It's fine. Really? Really? Are you sure? Hooray, you don't have to. I don't want you to get it for me. Are you sure? Cove took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself, too. My dad told me to. You were a little nervous, but happy with your purchase nonetheless. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you, too. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. Yeah. Does your dad always give money out like that? Thanks for getting me it. Yeah, we're gonna say thanks. Okay. It wasn't clear if he really accepted your thanks or not. What? You were going to thank him for the keychain again, but considering he only did it because his dad told him to, it probably didn't matter. Cove raised an eyebrow, but didn't push the issue. Cove looked further down the street where food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, just as yours let out a slight growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around for a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you got a plain one, got one with cheese, got one with sprinkles, got one with chocolate. Oh, but then again, the cinnamon one sounds really good, and those were one of my favorites as a kid. However, even as a child, I was a huge chocolate fan, so we're gonna get that. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed the pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It had tiny marshmallows on it and was dripping with chocolate, just how you liked it. Your moms didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are going to make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled, satisfied. Could you help me too? I can't tie it to my own wrist. He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other.
Okay.
Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time, you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having to do anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level, then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had the left remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather. He's the Prince of Dolphins. Mine's name is Splash. They star in the movies. Mine is Cherry. She's actually an alien. Mine is Sam, and they're just regular dolphin. I would totally have an alien dolphin. When no one is looking, she transforms back into her true alien self. She has purple skin and 10 eyes. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real-life alien. What's yours? Cove considered the question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no! Oh no. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. You made a joke. You offered to find Alexander. I'm gonna give him my balloon. You could have my balloon instead if you want. Cove looked over at you, frowning. I don't want yours. Oh. You felt bad for Cove, but were secretly glad. You liked the little dolphin and weren't too eager to give it up. Cove spent the rest of the outing sniffling and didn't say much else. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back to the late afternoon. You know what I mean. Late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been nice for the most part. Hopefully there wouldn't be any tears next time. All right. Oh, cool. I really like this game. Let me save it. That is the end of the first episode of Our Life, Beginnings and Always. I really enjoyed this. It is a lot of reading, so I gotta get my voice up to snuff because I've got a lot of reading to do now, almost every day. But I am enjoying it. I really think I'm going to like this game. I'm very intrigued about where it's going to go. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of replayability of it as well. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. You can also follow me on social media. Do the channel member fan house sub thing if you wish. That is optional. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.